Folks, I cannot tell you how frequently I receive emails where people say, "We love the staff training day fire evacuation drills. But Jason, can we also have internet training?" Well, to those people, the day has finally come. There are a few things you need to know to evacuate safely in a fire situation. Who's in charge? What do they do? What do you do if you're not in charge? How do you exit the building safely? And what do you do after you exit the building? The person in charge is the person who is assigned to the reference desk or public service desk when the alarm goes off. Any area that does not have that location, so collection services and maintenance, for instance, the supervisor is the evacuation leader and then employs by seniority if the supervisor is not present. So the evacuation leader needs to call 911 and report there's a fire alarm going off. They need to yell, "Attention everyone, we are evacuating the building. Patrons, please leave now by going through the emergency exits." And then that person needs to point with fingers towards the emergency exits, kind of knife hand motions toward the emergency exits, like a person who's given instructions on an airplane. That also works. Really, any kind of hand motion or otherwise motion to indicate where the emergency exits are going to help. Ensure all areas of the floor are searched and direct the other employees, if there are any, to search specific areas for patrons and for employees who may have not heard the announcement or the fire alarm going off. So this is going to be very similar to how everyone searches floors at the end of a shift. Just make sure all areas are covered and go into the administration office or any other areas where employees may be working and ensure that no one's in there. This is going to be bathrooms. This is going to be corners of the building, anything you can think of, archive rooms, back offices, all of those areas. So, all right, so if a patron is being difficult, and I know that never happens, but if they were, or if it's a unusual situation in any kind of way, so the patron refuses to leave, or if it happens that they may be a person who uses a wheelchair and they can't go down the stairs, something like that, you need to note where they are. So that person, let's say, again, a person using a wheelchair would go to the landing in the fire escape, and then the staff person should note where they are and describe have a description of the patron and kind of what's going on, what's the situation with that patron. So we're going to talk about designated gathering spots here in a few slides, but when the evacuation leader arrives at the designated gathering spot, they should establish who should be at work that is not at the gathering spot. So this is anybody who's not at lunch, but they're not present, and it's troubling because they could still be in the building. They need to collect information from all staff about patrons who may be inside the building. They need to go to the area in front of the location and meet emergency personnel. So that's going to be out in the front parking lot where the emergency vehicle is going to arrive. And some of those designated gathering spots are already close to the front of the building. So we'll cover that again in a few slides. They need to wait out of the way and communicate all clear to staff at the gathering point when it is all clear and they can all re-enter the building. Now, people who are not the evacuation leader, Those people, when the evacuation leader yells and makes their hand motions towards the emergency exits, they need to tell all patrons the building is being evacuated. They need to search all areas at the direction of evacuation leader if appropriate. They need to help patrons when necessary and also appropriate. Remember or record any problems. Be calm. Use emergency exits. Meet at the employee gathering point, and give information to the evacuation leader. So how do you leave the building safely? Go to the nearest emergency exit or use a common sense exit. So let's say you're in the very center of collection services downtown, the middle of that office area. You could choose to either head towards the interior dock area and then walk through to the garage and then walk up one of the ramps to the stairs to exit the building, or you could just go to the emergency exit. Which one are you going to do? Go to the emergency exit. So let's say you're in collection services and the area near the bathrooms, which is also near the emergency exit, smoke is pouring out of that area. Where do you go? You go to the other door, the interior dock door. Okay, you go away from the smoke, use that common sense. Now, downtown, should be noted, when the fire alarm goes off, all of the doors on every floor above the first floor that lead to the stairway are going to close automatically. Okay, so no matter where you are on those floors, you need to use the emergency exits. Other buildings, like, let's point to South Chat for an example. You're really, wherever you are in the building, you're fewer than 20 steps away from an exit. So go to the nearest exit unless you see a fire in that area. So where are you going to go after you exit the building? You're going to go to the designated employee gathering points. The red X marks the spot. This is Avondale. You would leave out the back of the building. The front of the building is right on the street. And walk across the parking lot to this area with the red X. South Chat, really, where better can you go in case of a fire than straight to a fire station? Just walk across the parking lot, go next door to the Chattanooga Fire Station number 14 here, and I'd say that there will be a pretty fast response from the fire department. If you are at Northgate, you will cross the grass to the parking lot behind Northgate and gather in that area. If you are at Eastgate, then you will go to this area at the corner of Marlin Road and the road that goes around Eastgate Mall. If you're downtown, you're going to go west on 10th Street or 11th Street to the parking lot behind the garage, behind the library from Broad Street, and meet approximately in this area marked by the red X, and share information with the evacuation leaders there, who will go around to the corner of 10th and Broad Street, which is where the fire hydrant is and where we have been told the fire trucks are going to arrive if fire trucks were to come in the case of an actual emergency. And that's it for fire evacuation instructions. So now you know, in case of a fire, what's going to happen, who's going to be in charge, where you need to go, and what's going to happen when you get there. Thanks, y'all. And remember, the key to safety is personal responsibility.